The problem with depression is, you want to be well, but you're just not sure how to get there. And you lose all sense of clarity, and your mind races. Your heart feels like it's withering away, and you're just lost. It's like as if your soul decides to just leave its body and wander off and left you alone. Welcome back to another episode of A Wanderer's Way podcast. I'm your host, Dustin. Thank you for joining me on this second episode of season 2. And today we're going to speak about mental health awareness, why it's important to me, how it affects me, and specifically more about the depression side. So with that being said, let's get started. All right, so there's a lot of stigma that comes with mental health and how it is perceived by the public eye. And what's really sucks about the whole situation is if you are someone that has a mental illness, such as depression, anxiety, bipolar, schizophrenia, PTSD, those are just some examples. You understand what I'm talking about the stigma and the stereotypes and how people perceive it and don't comprehend it, so they treat you oddly, I guess, to say the least, or disrespectfully too. So let me give it to you guys this way. Myself, I have PTSD, I have severe depression, I have anxious distress, and I have bipolar with manic episodes. So I'm there. I completely 100% understand how it is out in the public. And I also work as a DSP, so that's a direct support professional. So I work with clients that have mental disabilities. Most of it's from learning, but they also hold a lot of mental illnesses. So I get to see the other side from the outside, I guess, in a way too, but I can relate to everything as well. So it helps me with my job too. But, I've only known my side and how people would treat me, but I've never been around a lot of other people that had a lot of similar stuff as I do. So when you, as a person, can see somebody else being harassed, treated differently, looked down upon due to holding on to a mental illness, it starts to really click in your head more. It's not just me, it's everyone with it. It's the entire illnesses that people can't seem to comprehend or understand. And a lot of them are complex too. So, especially someone that have manic episodes, it's very complex. There is a lot of things that can come with it. So, let's give a quick example for me with my bipolar and I go manic. Yeah, I do get some hallucinations. Very rarely visual, usually just auditory. But I also get hypersexuality. Yeah, research it. I'm not gonna explain it. But you got other things too. So for me, I go on this spending spree or ghosting act as well. So, say, because I have 4 credit cards, for example, this is why they're maxed out and I'm still paying them off and everything. But there's times where if I go manic, I'll just go to store and I'll just like gather everything that I want and just swipe my card. Or either jump in my car, or if I don't have a car, jump on a train or a bus and just go somewhere. And I'm kind of blacked out at this point a lot of times, and I don't even know what's going on. So I lose complete sense of clarity. And I'll just go somewhere and not remember how or why. And it's a very scary situation. So let's give this one example for you guys to kind of understand what I'm talking about. So when I lived in New York City, I lived with my best friend Theo. I don't remember this except for actually looking back at my text messages when I got off a bus in North Carolina. So before all this happened, I was looking at new homes, new areas to go to check out. And I found a nice place called Southport, North Carolina. It was actually a beautiful place, which is also part of movies that I've watched too. However, apparently, I asked my best friend to help me out get onto one of those Chinese buses there because they're cheaper. And it took an overnight drive all the way down to North Carolina. And I left everything except for some of my clothes and some other things I needed and packed them in a book bag and left. At this time, I have no idea what's going on. Like, my brain is pretty much shut off. Like, I know what's going on, but clarity, it doesn't exist. So I don't even realize that I'm actually on the bus, that I paid, that I left, and that I'm going to North Carolina until I stepped off the bus and something just clicked where I was like, whoa, what's going on? Read on my text messages. I'm like, oh, so this happened. So the clarity started clicking there. And I was like, now what do I do? Now I'm definitely alone. No home, no nothing. And then I realized that there wasn't a bus. As I've looked through my search history and stuff, and found that there was supposed to be a bus that goes down. No, I had to walk 24 miles to get to Southport, plus take a ferry, which was a nice cut right there. And then sleep on a bench overnight for a couple nights. And yeah, it's interesting. And I've done that a few times. Now, I haven't done that recently. I've been able to control myself more and recognize when I get to my manic episodes, which is very hard. So I'm 32 years old. And none of this started occurring for me to truly recognize and to be able to control it in the best of my ability to where I don't do stupid stuff like that until these last 2 years since I moved to Montana. So yeah, there's a lot of stigma. People don't understand anything like that. They don't comprehend. It's as if you're talking about God. You know, if you talk about your religion, for example, to someone that doesn't believe just does not understand, and then they'll create a stigma about it. It's the same way with mental illness. You know, you try to explain it to somebody, they just don't comprehend it. And what I've really noticed too is for the men's side, it's worse than the women's side. As a man, because of social standards, you are told, get over it. You are told you can't cry as a man. It makes you weak. So, with those things, now looking at the stereotypes, you're looking at the social standards, and you're looking at the holding anger, sadness, everything inside of you until the point that you explode, either hurt somebody else because you're holding everything in, or, well, the worst part, and yes, I say the worst part, is you completely lose your entire mind for suicide. And that does happen. And there needs to be something done. I really feel, at least here in America, mental health, education, mental health, medically are pretty garbage. See, I'm 32 and I'm still not on medications for my bipolar, PTSD, or depression. It is very hard to get in, especially now that the COVID pandemic and everything. Yeah, it is extremely hard. So I fight, and I'm also suicidal. I have been. I haven't been lately, the last couple of years, but it doesn't mean it's not there. And it doesn't mean that I never think about it. It just means I haven't tried attempting it or wish it. But it's still there. No matter what, it is there. And there's so many issues within society. And something needs to be done to control that, to educate people, to help those that need help. You got the high cost of going to a doctor, a therapist, and also your medication. Like, how do we live in a society where mental health is not a priority, where medications are just so overpriced, even with health insurance? And that's the easier side. When it comes to health insurance, that's the cheapest part too. Because you can get, with a lot of insurance, you can actually have your medications cut in half. Okay, so from 120 to whatever, you can have a cut, a certain percentage, depending on your insurance. But it doesn't mean that you're not going to be broke. Because with the insurance side, now you got to pay for a therapist, or you got to pay for going to a doctor to get medications, and a lot of health insurance does not cover all that. If you get a free one, like for example me, you have up to $5,000. So I got to still spend out of pocket for all that. And if I wanted to get the step up from there, well, that's money coming out of each paycheck that I cannot afford to have taken out because it's expensive. And then it still doesn't cover any extra payments. I still would have $2,000 I have to spend up to for them to take control. So pretty much I'm be spending that money for nothing, unless I need surgery or something, which at that time obviously I would need. But it doesn't seem like there's a big focus on the mental health. We run the ad campaigns, see it on TV, see it on social media, see people trying to do it on YouTube, and of course, podcasting like this one. But it doesn't seem to hit the nail on the head for anybody. It doesn't seem to really help, at least to me. Now, certain communities might see a different change, but also here in Montana is one of the highest states rate of suicide. And since I've been here, I've seen a lot better things with the mental health area, but it's still really bad. I'm still for me to go in, It still takes 3 months. I can't just put myself on the list and wait 3 months. Fuck, I can kill myself within 3 months. Not saying I'm going to, but that's the possibility of if something were to happen, You lose yourself if I can't control things and it gets that bad, or a certain circumstance or situation created that manic episode or severe drop, you know. But a lot of people in the community don't understand. You try to explain to somebody about mental health, they look at you like, that's not real. I actually had someone tell me that that is not real. In fact, I also had someone tell me that you can't have PTSD because you weren't in the military. Realize that PTSD does not necessarily just mean only military and war. Literally, I don't understand why everyone's stigma is, oh, you're not in war, you can't have PTSD. Yeah. Dude, you don't understand how things can affect someone for the rest of their life from something that happened when you were a child. But a lot of those things too, which I'm not going to really bring up and mention, but a lot of people say because you're a man, that can't happen when you're a kid. You're a man. That's impossible. You're a man, and that's impossible. Therefore, you can't have PTSD because you never went in the military. See, that's the issue. Is there's really no education. There's no awareness of mental health. They're just throwing ad campaigns, but nothing ever changes in the community. But let me tell you, as someone that's truly affected by mental health issues, working as a direct support professional has really saved me. And the reason why is because it's really, one, helped me to learn how to really operate in times of stress, times of severe situations, medical emergency situations, snapping my finger wise, and it's helped me to try to learn how to breathe, because when you're trying to help someone else with their mental illness, you try to take that in, or you see someone else that learns how to do something, you kind of take it, especially when you spent there 2.5 years with the same people, you start to learn from them too. So you kind of learn everything and it helps. And let me tell you, I'm one of the most impatient people on the freaking planet. But man, this job has really saved me on my patience. Heck, I've got my road rage down too, to where I don't do anything anymore. I don't flip people off all the time when they don't use their turn signals or cut me off, which I used to do. So, yeah. So you just got to find your place. You got to find what actually clicks, what truly helps you in the end. We got to get ourselves to educate the people around us to where they educate people around them, so they can understand how to help us. Because telling someone, get over it, or grow up, or, for men, be a man, that actually is the opposite effect of helping. Way opposite. People don't realize what's really going on in your head, what's affecting your heart, what's really going on in your life. Because you don't have to be open and tell everyone in the entire world. Not everyone is open and puts everything on social media, So, yeah, there's that. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Wanderer's Way podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys learned something. Also, continue on listening and following me on Spotify. Have a wonderful weekend.